Hey everybody, welcome back to the AV to the 7th Power YouTube channel where we talk about all things law, true crime, and political debauchery. Today, we're going to delve into the unfortunate and recent assassination attempt on President Donald Trump, the resulting congressional response, and also dive into a historical analysis of previous attempts on U.S. presidents. Join us as we uncover the facts, explore the security lapses, and discuss the critical steps being taken to protect our former leaders. Let's get started. To start, let's recap the recent assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump. A 20-year-old man, Tom, attempted to breach the former president's security detail. The incident occurred during a public event at a rally, raising serious concerns about the effectiveness of current protective measures. In this clip from our recent live stream, we broke down the security lapses and the potential risk that such incidents pose. So where it says Trump stage, we have this red point. We have Trump evacuation point. That's where the black Suburban was, and that's how they were able to get him out as quick as possible. You actually, and this is new information, we had two counter sniper teams. This is good. This is good that we have this. So we see the shooter's location, but there were, I only assumed that there was one counter sniper team, but it looks like there were two, and they were stationed right behind Trump. And that's probably to give them a better vantage point. Now, if you could see where the shooter was, that is obviously super strategic, but look at what's behind him. There's a parking lot back there. So this is like like one of those Google Earth views, but there's a parking lot back there. So we can now see, you could see what the audience members were talking about. He got up on the roof, but look at the building that he was on. You can actually see these like narrow areas where he was probably crawling over there as well. But I can now see how he got up there now that we have this view. The attempt has sparked a nationwide debate on the adequacy of the protective measures in place for former presidents. In response to this alarming event, President Joe Biden addressed the nation from the Oval Office. His brief speech emphasized the gravity of the situation and the urgent need for enhanced security measures for all former presidents. President Biden expressed his relief that former President Trump was unharmed and condemned the act of violence. He reaffirmed his commitment to ensuring safety for all former presidents, stating that an attack on any president is an attack on the stability and security of the nation. Biden's address set the tone for swift legislative action and underscored the bipartisan commitment to addressing these security concerns. In the middle of these tense developments, President Trump made a significant announcement at the Republican National Convention early this week. He selected Ohio Republican Senator JD Vance as his vice presidential running mate for the upcoming election. Vance, a cool 39, brings a new dynamic and energy to Trump's campaign.
Elect Donald Trump in 2024. God bless you, sir.
This announcement has added a new layer of interest to the political landscape, as Vance's selection could influence the campaign strategy and voter engagement in the critical months ahead. Following President Biden's address, Congress swiftly moved to address the security gaps. A new bill was introduced early this week, aiming to enhance security measures for all former presidents. This bill includes increased funding for security personnel, advanced surveillance technology, and comprehensive threat assessment protocols. The bill's proponents argue that the evolving threat landscape necessitates these changes. They emphasize that safety of former presidents is not just a matter of personal protection, but also a matter of national security. Now, let's turn our attention to the perpetrator of this recent attempt. Tom Crooks was 20 years old and has been identified with someone with a history of mental health issues and a fascination with high-profile political figures. Tom was a loner in high school, from what we can see. New images and videos of him have been resurfacing all week. And the issue with this threat is that Tom's vehicle contained explosives and more weapons were found at his home in Pennsylvania. His motives are still under investigation, but preliminary reports suggest a combination of personal grievances and extreme ideologies. Law enforcement agencies are working tirelessly to uncover any potential connections to larger networks or groups. This incident underscores the importance of monitoring and addressing the mental health aspects. The attempted assassination has brought to light several security failures within the Secret Service. Critics argue that these lapses reflect deeper systemic issues within the agency. However, it can be inferred these failures are largely due to a lack of resources and overwhelming demands placed on the agency. The Secret Service has long been tasked with the monumental job of protecting current and former presidents, their families, and other high-profile individuals. The increasing frequency and sophistication of threats necessitate substantial resources, advanced training, and areas where the agency has faced significant challenges. The new bill introduced by Congress earlier this week aims to address these resource shortages, ensuring that the Secret Service can effectively carry out its mission to protect our nation's leaders moving forward. Now, let's talk about the historical context of this and look at former attempts on U.S. presidents. This isn't the first time a president or former president has faced such a threat. Let's take a moment to reflect on all previous attempts on U.S. presidents that have shaped the way that we approach security today. 1. Andrew Jackson. On January 30th, in 1835, an individual attempted to shoot President Andrew Jackson with 2 pistols, both of which misfired. Jackson, at 67, attacked Lawrence with his cane until others intervened. 2. Abraham Lincoln. In 1865. On April 14th, 1865, an individual shot President Abraham Lincoln at the Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. Lincoln died, unfortunately, from his wounds, making him the first United States president to be assassinated. 3. James Garfield in 1881. On July 2nd, 1881, an individual shot President James A. Garfield at the Baltimore and Potomac Railroad Station in Washington, D.C. Garfield succumbed to his injuries on September 19, 1881. 4. William McKinley in 1901. On September 6, 1901, an individual shot President William McKinley at the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York. McKinley died from gangrene caused by the wounds on September 14, 1901. Medicine and technology wasn't the best back then. 5. Teddy Roosevelt in 1912. Although not a sitting president at the time, Teddy Roosevelt was shot by an individual during a campaign speech in Milwaukee. Roosevelt survived and continued his speech with the bullet still lodged in his body. 6. Franklin D. Roosevelt, 1933. On February 15, 1933, an individual fired at President-elect FDR in Miami, Florida. Although Roosevelt was not hit, Chicago Mayor Anton Cermak was mortally wounded. 7. Harry Truman, 1950. On November 1, 1950, 2 Puerto Rican nationalists attempted to assassinate President Truman at Blair House, where he was living during White House renovations. The attackers were thwarted by Secret Service agents, resulting in fierce gun battle. 8. JFK, 1963. On November 22nd, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated by an individual in Dallas, Texas. This event profoundly impacted the nation and led to significant changes in presidential security. 9. Richard Nixon, 1974. An individual attempted to hijack a plane from Baltimore Washington Airport, intending to crash it into the White House to kill President Nixon. This individual was thwarted and took his own life before the plane took off. 10. Gerald Ford in 1975. In 1975, President Ford faced 2 attempts within 17 days. The first attempt by one individual, a follower of Charles Manson, was foiled when her gun misfired. The second attempt by another person, both of these people were women, by the way. She was thwarted by a bystander who grabbed her arm as she fired. 11. Jimmy Carter, 1979. An individual was arrested in LA with a gun and ammunition, claiming he was part of a plot to assassinate President Carter. Although he did not succeed, this incident highlighted ongoing security concerns. 12. Ronald Reagan, 1981. President Reagan was shot and seriously wounded by an individual outside a Washington, D.C. hotel. The individual, driven by an obsession with actress Jodie Foster, sought to impress her by committing the act. 13. George H.W. Bush, 1993. In 1993, former President George H.W. Bush was the target of an attempt plot by Iraqi intelligence. The plot was uncovered and thwarted by Kuwaiti officials and the FBI, leading to the indictment of 14 individuals. 14. Bill Clinton in 1994 and 1996. In 1994, an individual fired at the White House from Pennsylvania Avenue. In 1996, a second attempt from Osama bin Laden on Clinton happened during his visit to the Philippines, but the plot was foiled. 15. George W. Bush in 2005. An individual attempted these actions on President George W. Bush and Georgian president at the time by throwing a grenade at them during a rally in Georgia. This is the country Georgia, not the state Georgia. The grenade failed to explode. The recent attempt on Donald Trump's life is a stark reminder of the persistent dangers faced by former presidents. It also underscores the importance of robust security measures for them and the need for constant vigilance that law enforcement officers need to have. This is not an easy job for anyone, but it needs to get done. We will continue to monitor this story and provide updates as more information becomes available. Thank you for joining us in this detailed exploration of a critical security issue. Stay tuned for more in-depth analysis and coverage on our channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and stay informed for the latest developments. This is AV7 signing off. Stay safe out there. See you in the next one. Bye.